Hello, and a very warm welcome to Wednesday Wandering with me, Cate Field. Wandering about stuff and not just wandering off. A place to explore creativity and inspiration and the deeper rhythms of an artistic and creative life. This week we find ourselves approaching the most solemn and mysterious moment of the Christian calendar, Good Friday. And whether or not we observe the traditions of Holy Week, I think it offers us something deeply human. The opportunity to pause, to wait, to sit with what is broken, to resist the impulse to move quickly towards resolution, to stay in that holy, difficult space between what has ended and what has not yet begun. Maundy Thursday is tomorrow. There's intimacy and undoing before we reach Good Friday, and we must pass through Maundy Thursday, the night of tenderness and betrayal. The foot washing, the sharing of bread, the friend slipping into the shadows. It's a night full of gesture and silence. And for me, one of the most moving moments in the story of Holy Week. It speaks of love expressed in small actions, of closeness, the edge of loss, and of that deep human ache we feel when something precious is about to change. Maundy Thursday prepares us for stillness. It reminds us that endings are often wrapped in intimacy. Good Friday, the pause before the light. For centuries, this day has been observed not with a fanfare, but with silence. No answers, no clear plan, just the ache of what is no longer. It's tempting, isn't it, especially in modern life, to skip over the sorrow, to rush towards Easter joy, to make something bright, something beautiful, something explainable. But Good Friday teaches us that not all things can be fixed quickly, that sometimes we must sit beside the grave. That transformation often begins in stillness, in grief, in the quiet work of waiting. And as creatives, as human beings, we know these places, the fallow seasons, the uncertain days, that sense that nothing is happening, when in truth, everything is quietly shifting beneath the surface. Cynthia Bourgeault, the mystic of the pause, one voice, I often return to in these quiet spaces. I love her. She's an Episcopal priest, contemplative teacher and a writer who has spent her life exploring the inner landscape of spiritual transformation. She's known for her teachings on centering prayer and the wisdom of tradition, and particularly for reclaiming the voice and the role of Mary Magdalene, not as a sinner, but as an apostle to the apostles, the first witness to the resurrection. Bourgeault writes with clarity and gentleness. She invites us to discover what she calls the subtle realms of knowing, what we feel, what we sense, our intuition, in the spaces where words often fall short. She writes, it is not by moving faster or trying harder or making ourselves smarter that we catch up with time. It is by pausing. And I feel that there is so much profound wisdom in that sentence, because the pause is not passive. It's an act of deep listening. Bourgeault suggests that it was precisely in the silence of Good Friday and Holy Saturday that the true transformation was happening, not yet visible, but fully present. I've put a link in the description to a YouTube film of Cynthia Bourgeault talking at the Aspen chapel last year, if you'd like to check that out, because it's quite inspirational. Another poet that I love is Denise Levertov, the poet of sacred tension. Her voice is just extraordinary. She was born in 1923 in England to a Russian Jewish father who converted to Christianity and became an Anglican priest. Levertov lived much of her adult life in the United States. She was a poet of conscience, of mystery, and spiritual curiosity. Her work embraces a wide variety of genres and themes, including nature, love poems, protest poetry, and poetry inspired by her faith. Her early poetry reflects political and personal unrest. She protested the Vietnam War and wrote about civil rights. But as she got older, her work turned inward and became more meditative, more luminous with spiritual searching. Levertov never approached her faith as certainty. She dwelled in the tension between doubt and wonder, writing poems that opened space rather than closed it. From her poem Agnus Dei, given that lambs are born in the coldest months, in the womb's warmest darkness, given that birth itself is the beginning of sacrifice, isn't it fitting that on this cold stone he lies in the weather of our grief? So extraordinary. She doesn't paint a comfortable faith. She stays with the cold stone, with the sorrow, with what we might turn away from. And yet, in that place, something is being made ready. Mary Magdalene, the woman who stayed, the one figure who gently threads these stories together, is Mary Magdalene. She's there in the shadows of Maundy Thursday, and she's there at the foot of the cross. And crucially, she is still there on Easter morning, long before dawn, carrying the spices, tending to the body, prepared to do what is needed. She becomes, in the earliest gospel accounts, the first witness of the resurrection. She doesn't get there through force or certainty. She arrives through presence, through love, through the willingness to stay in the mystery. Cynthia Bourgeault describes Mary Magdalene not as an ornament to the gospel story, but as the spiritual centre, the one who recognises transformation when it's still half hidden in mist. And for me, that's what this week is really about. It's not about the triumph or the pageantry, but about the stillness before the light. So, how can we respond to this moment? Perhaps with gentleness. Perhaps by allowing ourselves not to know. By honouring the places in our lives that feel unformed, unfinished and unclear. We don't always have to be switched on. And we don't always have to be fixing, producing and proving stuff. Sometimes the work is simply to wait. You might like to light a candle and sit quietly just for a few minutes. Or perhaps to take a walk and notice what is blooming and what is letting go. You might like to write a few lines about what feels tender, or tired, or slow. Or you might like to make art without trying to make it meaningful. Just let it breathe. Or perhaps do nothing and simply allow yourself to be. So here is your creative prompt for this week. Where in your life do you feel a pause is needed? It might be in your work, your relationships, your creative practice, or simply your pace. Try not to judge your answer. Just name it, just sit with it. Let it become a place of possibility rather than pressure. So as we move towards this Good Friday, I invite you not to turn away from the quiet. There is wisdom in the stillness. There is courage in the pause. And sometimes it is in that space where nothing seems to be happening that the deepest changes are taking place. Let this be your fallow ground. Let it rest. Let it ready itself for light. Until next week, keep wondering. Bye-bye.